I've got deadbolt locks, burglar bars, a silent alarm, and I'm still sleeping with one eye open. What I want to know is there anything being done to keep me and my family safe? Well, here again, thanks for staying with us. Mayor R.T. Rybak is here to answer that question. And also we have V.J. Smith with MADDADS, a grassroots organization that does a lot of work here in the Twin Cities. Mayor Rybak, if you could allow V.J. to just, for a minute, tell people out there who don't know what MADDADS is all about, what you guys do.
MADDADS stands for Men Against Destruction, Defending Against Drugs and Social Disorder. It's an acronym. So we're not the Mad Dads. We're not Men Against Drunk Drivers. We're making a change. We're men that are taking a visible stand against the violence in our community. So we do a few things. We do intervention and prevention. We respond to calls when people call us and say, hey, the kids are going crazy. They're throwing rocks in the neighborhood. They're going, and we come out there and have some intervention and say, listen, this is what a neighborhood looks like. You live in this neighborhood. If you break windows, that means that glass will get caught in your little sister's foot. We make things simple for our children. We ride the bus, the number 5, where there's been all the homicides. We've been on that bus and make it a peace bus. If you ever ride the bus with us, one of the most peaceful buses you ever ride is the number 5 when we're on it. We can't be on them all. There's 200 and something buses out there, and we can only be on 1 or 2 at a time. But we've made a decision to introduce to our young people how to be safe and how to be polite. And you know, some of our young kids have even forgot about giving a seat up for elderly women. You can be riding a bus and an old lady with 2 bags will be standing there. I said, brother, don't you know this is what men do? Men give up for our seniors and our children, and we're teaching that. And then we're on the streets being examples for some of our men and women that have hopelessly forgotten what their real true value in life is all about. And we show them how they can be men and women that can be productive in this community. Because believe it or not, through the drugs and through the violence and through the trauma, some of our men and women have lost sight of their vision and their dreams. Like you, Sheletta, you've got complete control of your vision and dreams, and you're going for it. But there are thousands of men and women that are walking up and down the streets that have lost that. And those are the men and women that make it unsafe for you. That's why you have those locks and those alarms and all that. And we're trying to touch them before they hurt you. We're trying to touch their souls and their spirits to change your lives.
Now, Mayor Rybak, you're listening to VJ. He is very passionate about what he's talking about. The city actually partners with his organization, right?
I'm very passionate about the work VJ does, and I want to say to anybody who's out there who's a funder or is involved in this, MADDADS is one of the great organizations. I've been there, unfortunately, with VJ when there have been murders. I've been there in places where they're preventing violence, and they do great work. I was on that number 5 last week. I just took a ride on the number 5 back and forth, and one that you weren't on. And, you know, there's a lot that we did, for instance, to make it safe. The bus people are putting a lot more money in. We're putting a lot in. But here's the experience I've got on it. It's why what he's saying is so important. Watch a African-American man and his boy walk onto the bus, okay? Just what we want to see, a dad and his son taking a bus ride together, and it's great. Guy sits down next to him, starts talking to him about being an ex-con, about the gun he's got, the knife he put in so-and-so. So this little boy heard those messages. We're riding back from Lowry and Penn. Mother walks on, 3 little girls, and they sit down. 14-year-old, 15-year-old girl sits down, starts telling a story about her mother who punched her in the face, about how the mother is buying marijuana for the grandson. Loud voices, these little girls are hearing these messages. So we're going to do a lot on all the stuff that government can do. We're putting more officers on the street. We're using safety cameras. We're doing juvenile unit, all this stuff. But until we really get at these things that I think VJ is talking about, is about us getting real with each other about what kind of people do we want to be and raise. Until we get at that, there's no government program that can do that. So I think what's important is that as mayor, we're going to put the money out, we're going to do all that, and I'll go where I need to go and do what I need to do. But all of us really need to say, we've got to get a handle on how we are the village raising these kids, and how too many of these kids are too young to be having the kids, and that's part of the problem too.
VJ, you get kids involved in your program. How do you do that?
One of the ways we do that is we're working through schools. we go to the schools and we meet kids, and we just kind of sit down and touch with them and find out where they're at. And some of those kids have passion to fight against the very things that are in their families. Some of those kids don't want to grow up to be like Uncle Pluky. Some of those kids don't want to grow up to be like Aunt Lily, that's out there still smoking crack, still getting high, still drunk. And some of those kids want to know, how do I change? How do I stop the vicious cycle? So we bring them along. And then there's parents that come in and say, you know what? I've been part of the problem. Can you help me with my kid? And we'll show them how to give back. It's interesting. You can drive down Lake Street, or you can drive down Plymouth Avenue or Broadway, and you look and say, there's another gangbanger, there's another drug dealer. But once you get out of your car and you walk down and you meet those interesting individuals, and you find out some of their history and find out some of the traumatic things they've been through. And when you bring kids to meet those individuals, and that's what we do, we bring those kids along and say, look, this is what it looks like. Not just driving by or going by on your way to school, but this is what it looks like to talk to those individuals. So we show kids how to be a part of the solution. We're trying to train them young about how to be a part of the solution. Me and you are not going to be here forever. And we've got to bring young men and women in to take a stand for our community. And a lot of our kids are going into this whole no snitching. But understand, snitching is not about saving the community. Real men, and I'm talking about what real men do. Real men protect the community, protect the children, and protect the families at whatever cost it takes. Now, if that means calling the police, we pay taxes. It comes out of your check every week. And so that money is for the police department to do their job. Right. Why wouldn't you call the police? If somebody is shooting in front of your house, call the police. When the police get there, you need to tell them who did it. There's no sense in us talking about don't snitch. Snitch is something, and the description is not fairly being told. A snitch is a person that is incarcerated or is about to be incarcerated that is going to tell another person that's about to be incarcerated or incarcerated. Being a father and being a community leader and being a person that cares about the community, that is what you call community policing. That is what you call protecting your family. That is not snitching. And so we need to make sure that people understand that. And we got to stand up. We got more mothers now than ever before that are standing in the gap because they've lost their children. These mothers are angry. These mothers are tired. And these mothers need fathers to stand alongside of them. But where are they? They're in the prison, or they're on the streets, hustling, or doing something negative. Even some of the fathers that are in the church are not mobilizing like they should. And so there's a call for action. A call for action, and people say, I wish that every sports person that loves sports would give up one Sunday or one Saturday a month and take a young black kid and put him in your arms and find out what he needs and try to provide that. Just for miss a game 1 week a month. Join MADDADS. Come and be a part of what I'm doing for 1 day a month. And let's see what kind of difference we can make. Because you know what? We can lock all the people up if we want to, but they're coming back out. And they're going to come out with more criminal skills, and they're going to come out with more dangerous attitudes, and they're going to come out more hurt and traumatized than they were before. But if we take them and put our arms around them, we can save them, and we can save our community.
V.J. Smith with MADDADS, Mayor R.T. Rybak, thank you so much for sticking with us and talking about the subject. We appreciate you guys for being here.